Hey everyone, welcome to Solo Party. My name's Kane, and we are back with Chapter 2 of Chronicles of Drunagor, Blackriver's Missing. Before we dive into the story, I want to go over the camp phase with you all real quick. This is going to happen between chapters. I'm probably never going to do this on camera unless there's a specific reason, but the camp phase is super simple, super short. There's actually a really handy sheet here. It's just on the back of this monster sheet, so you can look over. It takes you through all of the steps, and you are essentially just resetting. You are removing all of the condition tokens, your curse cubes, trauma cubes, getting all of your action cubes back and ready, all of your HP. Step 5 talks about statuses, auras, and outcomes. We haven't gotten to that yet, so we're just going to ignore that for now. And then we received the reward from our last chapter. And the reward from last chapter was that everybody unlocks a level 1 hero skill or a dungeon roll skill. So we've done all of that already. And then once we actually go to the characters, I'll show you what choices I picked for their level ups and what all that entails. And then last, you can rearrange your gear. And so you'll notice that it says stash or retrieve adventure or camp items. So we got that chest item last time, which is not included in this. So we can keep the chest item that we got equipped to a character, but we would not be able to leave it back at camp and store it for later use. And that is pretty much everything you're going to do with the camp phase. So we can just get into the story and start with chapter 2. The caravan arrives at the town of Blackriver just as night falls at the end of the following day. The town is in turmoil as the militias had been called in for the many strong arms that would be needed to build a palisade around the settlement. Having introduced yourself to the mayor, Matthias Cormac, as a volunteer adventurer, you walk alongside him as he inspects the construction of the town's defenses, learning about its problems and how you might help deal with them. The last time we built one of these, says Matthias, pausing to watch the work of some men, was half a century ago, and my grandfather believed that would be the last time our people would face a wave of incursions. However, now we have no choice but to arm peasants, fishermen, and artisans against those things that have arisen in the woods, he concludes with a heavy voice. Almost every night, monstrosities attack us like maddened men, lassoing those who cannot fight or flee as if capturing animals, he explains with a frown. I know these bastards have made their nest in James Earsold Fortress, but the 2 times I tried to fight them there, I was forced to retreat with less than half my men. However, where direct confrontation has failed, it could be that a more subtle approach will work. Following the advice of the priest you met the day before, you offer to help, leaving early in the morning under the day's protection. The journey through the riverine forest is calm, and after half a day's march you come across the ruins of the aforementioned fortress, built upon a high bluff that overlooks the mighty Black River. On another occasion you would even be content to spend time here, enjoying a view adorned by the patina of time. The silence makes you wonder if anyone actually inhabits the place, but recent tracks that look as though heavy loads were dragged into the keep indicate that something is going on here. Without hesitating, you advance towards the fortress on the mountainside, preparing for the worst. Alright, so you all notice for this first room, we don't actually have any monster spawns. All we have is this interaction token right here. And you'll remember at the end of chapter 1 last time, we had an interaction scene with the old lady and the girl. So this is noting that we have another interaction like that here on the board. And so interaction tokens are numbered tokens, and you can see that this one is number 2. That means we'll be able to interact with whatever this image is 2 times. And so, before we get started, we will look at one change we have to the initiative track for this time, and we can get started with our heroes' turns. So the new thing we have going on here now is a rune card. And so this is going to be how we spawn darkness from here on out. Whenever it says to place the darkness hunting rune, so it's going to go right at the end of that rune spot, and it says, so basically after everything else has taken its action, we're going to draw a rune from the bag and then flip this card. And so the other side says, draw 2 runes and flip. And so every turn, that's kind of going to be the back and forth at the end of the phase, and that's going to be what denotes our darkness spawning for this chapter. Now let's go ahead and go over to Jaheen, still in our defender role. I'm probably going to keep most of the dungeon roles the same for this campaign, just for sake of ease, but you know, there is the option that I will be able to switch them between chapters if I desire, but right now I have everybody in the same role, so the initiative order looks the exact same right now. All right, so for Jaheen, I unlocked a level 1 hero skill as our reward, and I grabbed the Repelling Strike ability. And whenever you grab a hero skill or a dungeon roll skill, you're going to add an action cube of the same color. So Jaheen now has an extra melee action cube that he'll be able to use. Whenever you upgrade a dungeon roll, you can choose any action cube color for that, no matter what is displayed on the ability. So if I did it with Jaheen, I wouldn't have to take a melee or a ranged. I could take an agility or a wisdom if I wanted to. And then also, you'll see the item we picked up last time in the chest, the Scroll of Icy Bolts. I handed this off to Jaheen in the camp phase because I wanted this to go towards someone at the beginning of the initiative, so this could just be a great opener during combat, just to get some damage in and some knockdowns on 2 targets. So I went ahead and gave that to Jaheen because we know Jaheen always goes first in the turn order. And so just with how the board is right now, we don't have any monsters, there's only the interaction. I like to play these kind of things a little more thematically, a little bit of role play. I don't think Jaheen is all that interested in searching this interaction token, and I think Jaheen might just go ahead and open up that door. I don't imagine that this scenario is going to be monster-free the entire time, so I would like to go ahead, I think, and open up the door just to kind of see what all we're going to be getting into, have the monsters start, maybe we can file them towards us, maybe some sort of strategy there. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think Jaheen is going to focus on maybe going to the door and ignoring the interaction token for now. Okay, so for our free move, I'll just have Jaheen go forward 1, 2, 3 steps. And then so if we do want to get to the door to perform the open door minor action, we are going to have to use another ability that allows us to walk. And for that, we have either our Join the Fray ability in the Defender role, or just our Walk of Greeting, which is a move 3 and focus 1. And I think right now, while we really don't know what we're going to be getting into on the other side of the door, just a move 3 and a focus is always good to have as backup, so you can get to those focus abilities quicker. Open door is one of the minor actions you can do in the middle of a move, so I will be able to move up 1, open the door, and then continue moving through it if I desire. So we'll go ahead and use Jaheen's 1 agility cube for a Walk of Greeting. That'll go 1. And then we will use Open Door. So let's see what's behind door number 1. The Old Armory. Advancing through the door, you reach an underground chamber far from any light, which in the past served the fortress as an armory. Within, lurking among those shadows, lay more of those unearthed skeletons and also people. With an errant appearance and demeanor, to say the least, you wonder if you could still regard them as such. What was going on here? Could there be someone behind all of this like there was when you faced a similar situation just a few weeks ago? Alright, so now we have our next dungeon layout. Okay, we got a lot going on here. I'm going to go get all of this set up and then we'll come back. Alright, and here's what we have opened up into. You can actually see we have a bridge here going over this lava area into the next room. And when we get a closer look, you can see it's an armory. It's got a bunch of weapons strewn across the floors, a bunch of what look like workshop tables, different things of that sort. And obviously it is packed full of enemies as well. The lineup's kind of similar to our last one. We have some skeleton archers, the Scout of Darkness, and the Bone Reaper again. That was just the random draw we got. Last thing to note, for setup, we also have Trapdoor Thunder. When this door is opened right after completing its setup, if any hero has the Shattered Barrier Thunder status on their campaign log, they must erase it and nothing happens. So again, we haven't really gotten to those, but you can kind of see this is something we're going to keep track of over the course of the chapters, and something that we can track on our sheets that we'll be erasing or adding through different circumstances. So if we had it, we would erase it and nothing would happen. But since none of us do, all of our heroes have to make a agility skill challenge of difficulty 11, and every agility cube they have gives them a +2 bonus. Anyone who fails is going to take 2 non-preventable damage and stun. All right, so we've got to do this for everybody before we start. So we'll just go in order with Jaheen, Kellam, Lordwrath, Willow, then Shadow. Now everybody still only has 1 agility cube, so that means we really need to roll a 9 or higher to pass. All right, Jaheen. Okay, 10 plus 2, that's 12. Jaheen's good. Kellam. Okay, so Kellam did not quite meet it, so gonna take 2 damage and stun. Now Lordwrath. Oh, Lordwrath, just 1 off as well, is going to take 2 damage into stun. Willow. Okay, Willow, very good roll. We'll pass, and then Shadow. Oh. All right, that hurts a little bit. We had 3 people get stunned and take 2 damage. That is not a great way to start. Okay, so stun is still not the end-all be-all. It just means we're not going to be able to perform any attacks on our turn. So we still have options available. Looks like we'll be doing a lot more setup, maybe hang back here more. Good thing we have an interaction token that we can still look at. And now we can continue on with our turn. Jaheen still has 2 moves, so let's see where we want to go. We'll get a little bit closer. So like I mentioned earlier, we have this lava tile here under the bridge. The first time you step into it or end your turn in one of those spaces, you can see here, you're going to take 2 burn. And so that's definitely something we want to try to avoid, but also use to our advantage by trying to maybe push some of these monsters off of the bridge into the lava. None of the ones that we have are immune to burn, so they'll all be affected by it if we're able to do that. Okay, so I think Jaheen is going to go ahead and close the gap here and move up. 1, 2. On the bridge, ready to tackle this Bone Reaper. We still have 1 action cube left. And we're going to go ahead and use a melee action cube to perform the skill we just unlocked, the Repelling Strike. It says we get Self Shield 2, +2 to hit, and push 3 on a hit. So we'll go ahead and roll. With +2 to hit, we aren't adjacent to any allies, so the dice roller, Kellam's passive, is not going to go off. We just need a 5 or higher. Okay, and a 15, so that is going to be a hit. We will deal 3 damage, push 3, and give ourselves shield 2. So let's go ahead and push 1, 2. So with push, you have to move the enemy in a straight line, and the reason we couldn't have pushed them, say, off and into the lava is because they always have to move a space farther away from you. And so we know right in front of us is adjacent, but also diagonal is adjacent. So moving them there to there, they're still adjacent. It's not moving farther away. So we had to move them back this way, really is our only option. They couldn't move that way either because also adjacent. So we had to push it back, but that's fine. Okay, I apologize. I also misspoke about the stun. I was giving you all the monster rules for stun. Whenever a hero is stunned, at the beginning of their turn, they are going to lose 1 of their 2 allowed cube actions for that turn. So basically, anytime Kellam, Lordwrath, or Shadow activate for this turn, we will get our 3 free movement points and only 1 action cube with them to use for the turn. Alright, so we can also see for Kellam, we unlocked a melee ability, the Trova Chant. A target ally may make a weapon attack of +0 to hit, but +4 damage. It makes sense for me thematically to have him be able to, issue orders to his allies. And so really at the moment with only 1 cube action, the best we can really do is move forward and potentially do the Tarantella song to just help some of our other people get up closer. Oh, well, sorry, I forgot. We do have the Rupture Eardrums ability, which is a Wisdom cube, which means we can place it, the attack, on any square on the map, any blue area square, and give everyone there bleed 2. We've got a couple spots that have 2 enemies, so I think that could actually be good, allowing us to hang back still, but also deal some AoE DOT from afar. So we know we're only getting our 1 cube. We'll go ahead and remove our stun and go to the board. First thing we'll do with Kellam is move up 3. And then we'll use the 1 action cube we have for our Wisdom ability, Rupture Eardrums. And we're going to target the 2 stronger ones, kind of the closer ones as well, right here, the 2 Bone Reapers. And we're going to give them Bleed 2. They only have immunity to Poison and Intimidate, so we can apply those with no problem. So after Kellam, we have the Skeleton Archers activating. Let's go ahead and get a reminder on that card. So they are ranged enemies. They are immune to bleed. They have 4 movement, 3 attack, 9 health, and multi-shot 2 and poison. So if Skeleton Archer can get into a position to target 2 enemies, it will. I don't think it's going to be able to this turn, so it'll just prioritize Jaheen being the strongest enemy and get that one attack off. So it's just going to target Jaheen by only needing to move one away. Diagonal is adjacent, so we can target at range, and we will get off 3 damage and a poison. So we do have the 2 shields, so we are going to take the 1 damage. I don't want to waste a prevent on this because all it's stopping is the 1 damage and the poison, and we have plenty of cleanse abilities right now. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and take that 1 damage and the poison with Jaheen. Alright, and so for Lordwrath, you can see I unlocked a wisdom ability, self, focus 1, and shield X. And if you remember, X is equal to the number of curse cubes Lordwrath has on him. So the reason I want to do that is because as the controller, we have a lot of really useful stuns, pushes, different abilities like that, and wisdom and agility cubes allow you to target anyone you can see on the board. And so being able to do that at a wide range just seemed very versatile, very useful, and I just liked the ability that we gained with that over the passive for the agility, which is why I chose wisdom instead of that. But for this turn, obviously, we're going to move forward a little bit. We only have 1 action cube. And with that, I think I'm going to use our overpressure ability. So a nice ranged ability, 4 damage and telekinesis 3. So telekinesis 3 just means I can move someone, or even I can move an object. So say I could move that chest closer to Jaheen if I wanted to, put it over there on the bridge. But I think a more useful ability for that right now is I think I want to walk the skeleton archer into the lava. All right, let's move Lordwrath here 3 spaces. We'll go 1, 2, 3, and we'll use overpressure to deal 4 damage to this archer and then move it 1, 2, 3 spaces. So getting the skeleton archer down here is going to give it the burn 2. So it's now down to 5 health and 2 burn. Also being able to get rid of the skeleton archer, it is the only monster that activates at the top of the initiative order, so getting that out early means we're going to get to have 3 heroes activate before any monsters get to go, which is going to give us, I think, a really good tactical advantage here. Alright, so before Willow's turn, we are going to activate the Scouts of Darkness. So they are melee attackers. They have attack twice, drain health. They have a movement of 4. So in order, the green goes first and then the brown. So they'll move 1, 2, 3. And then they have an attack of 2 and drain health 1. So for each 2 damage that gets through, it's also going to deal that extra 1 from drain health. But if we can prevent that 2 damage, then the drain health won't go off. So the first thing I'm going to do to prevent some damage is I'll use one of my melee cubes for a prevent 3. So that first attack 2, it's not going to hit, the drain health won't go off, but then for that second attack, I am going to take the 2 damage, and then the drain health will go through, so that's going to be 3 damage total, taking Jaheen down to 10. Next we'll go with the brown Scout of Darkness, and it will go 1, 2, right up next to Jaheen. And not really anything I can do about this. We're going to take 6, all coming at us. So we go down from 10 to 4. Jaheen is looking pretty rough right now. But Jaheen's one of our more resilient ones. He's going to be all right. All right, we finally got somebody not stunned. And so Willow, we also got a wisdom ability. It's going to let us cleanse 1, heal 2, and focus 1. So that's really good. That's actually really good for Jaheen right now, who already gained the 1 focus. They need to be cleansed, and it's only a heal 2. They only need to be healed 1 to heal 2. A little bit of a waste, but getting the cleanse, heal, and focus is all perfect for Jaheen right now. So I think we are going to be using that new ability right now as well. And so we've been ignoring the action cube so far. I was thinking about going and using Kellam, but being stunned and only having 1 action cube, getting up there, my choices were kind of limited. But since Willow is not stunned, and we already know what we want to do with the wisdom cube, we could use an agility cube for the command strike to move 3 more, get next to that interaction token, and also summon a pet of ours. That's going to let us do a lot with Willow, and I think Willow would be the type of person that would want to maybe inspect things out, check things out, be a little more careful, intellectual, studious type. Okay, first things first, Willow is going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll go ahead and use the new ability, Soothing Rain, to cleanse, heal, and focus Jaheen. Our next action, we'll go ahead and do the command to strike, which will let us move 1. I'll go 2 right here. I know I'm in range of the multi-shot with the archer, but I plan on killing the archer before it gets to activate again, so I'm okay with getting Willow a little bit closer up. So the setup for this room tells us what page we need to go to see what we're interacting with, and let's go ahead and check it out. So before we go to the interaction page, I actually want to just show you just how detailed and awesome the artwork for this game is. So if we remove this interaction token and zoom in here a little bit, we can make out that's a stone gargoyle right there. And now when we look at the interaction book, there it is. I mean, you gotta love it. Okay, so here are all of our options. Quite a bit more than just the old lady and the girl, but we do get to go here twice. So, again, I like to play these things thematically. And Willow being a druid and path of nature, the first thing that sticks out to me right now is number 7, examine the running water. I mean, that honestly sounds like one of the most boring ones to me, but I just think that is what Willow would do, so that is the option we're going to choose. Examine the running water. Having been built on a slope where a spring flows into the Black River, crystal clear water is abundant in this place. Although its appearance doesn't catch your attention at first, when you taste a sip, you feel a chill run down your spine, accompanied by a refreshing sensation. Write down the blessed source status on your campaign log. As long as you have it, you do not receive any curse cubes when you take a recall action. So Willow, being a druid, recognized that there was something going on with this water, something that seemed off, but in a good way, in a beneficial way. So Willow was able to go over there, scoop some up, get a refreshing sip, and now every time we recall with Willow, we're actually not going to get cursed. So that's really good for Willow, especially for our healer. We're just going to have so many more options, not having to get rid of all of our prevents and our heals. I love that. That's really good. And minor actions don't take up the rest of your movement. I could keep moving if I wanted. I don't want to, so I'm going to go ahead and do the last part of Command to Strike and activate a pet of my choice. So again, we've got things on the board immune to both bleed and intimidate. I guess I don't care about the bleed so much because I do plan on killing the skeleton archer soon. So yeah, actually, I think I will get the wolf out instead of the bear this time. So we're going to get out Luma the wolf. 4 movement, 1 attack, and bleed 1. And just so we're not blocking anything, we will go ahead and put Luma right here. Alright, so before I forget, let's go ahead and activate Luma. And just move Luma right here. And let's go ahead and take a bite out of the green Scout of Darkness for 1 damage and a bleed. Okay, so for Shadow, you can see that I actually unlocked a dungeon roll skill for Shadow. So with Shadow's Striker ability, we actually now have a melee and ranged execution ability, which says target enemy with 6 or less HP dies. Just like that. Essentially, when you're using it at its most efficient, a 6 damage attack. So that's kind of the best attack I've seen so far. So it just kind of seemed like a no-brainer for our damage dealer. So if we weren't stunned with Shadow this round, we could probably make it up to that skeleton archer and just end it like that. But I don't think we're going to, with only having 1 action available to us. I think we're probably going to use the free move and probably just use a basic remove curse to heal and cleanse. Okay, so Shadow's going to have a boring turn here. 1, 2, 3. And we'll just use our wisdom cube to heal 2. And that will be it for Shadow. On to the Bone Reapers. We will start with the yellow Bone Reaper. They begin the turn with 2 bleed, so they take 2 damage, and we remove that token, going down to 10 health. Then they will move 1, 2, 3, and that does get them adjacent to Jaheen, but it also puts them in the lava, so they're going to gain a burn 2 token. And so when they attack, Jaheen does only have 4 health, So we're going to need a little extra help to prevent this damage. Luckily, we have Willow within range to use a range cube and the reaction, Veil of Light, up to 2 targets, prevent 2. We only have 1 target, but that's alright. We'll be able to prevent the 2 damage, and Jaheen will only take 2, thus avoiding a knockout for us. So now the Bone Reaper is going to swing around here, picking up 2 burn when it enters the lava, and we're attacking for 4. Luckily, Jaheen has 1 more prevent ability with the Defender Dungeon roll. We're going to use a Wisdom Cube to prevent 3 of that damage, taking 1, and that puts Jaheen right at 1 health, y'all. He is on the brink. But with that, we can move on to the Red Bone Reaper. And the Red Bone Reaper doesn't have any status. It is just going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. And unfortunately, it still actually will be able to make an attack on Luma, so only has the 1 health. It gets hit and it goes away. So with that, unfortunately, Luma is gone. And with that, we will go to the darkness hunting phase. So we will draw our first rune. And we got the green rune. When we look at the back of the green rune, we know, okay, so we're just getting a straight darkness token. Or a straight darkness tile. Currently, our strongest heroes are all tied at 10 right now. We have Willow, Shadow, and Lordwrath. So if we move back just a little here, we can see the darkness spawning point right here, and that does give us a straight line to Willow. So this is going to be where our first darkness spawns. So then we can flip over to the draw 2 rune side, and then we'll be able to go back to the top of the initiative track with Jaheen's turn. Okay, so we're back at the top of the turn order with Jaheen. We only have 1 health left, so he's looking pretty rough. We do have the 2 focus, so while we're adjacent, we probably will get off a shield bash for this turn. And then we've got multiple options for healing, so we've got a melee attack with a heal, we've got a wisdom with a heal, but we only have a melee and a ranged cube. But still, we have a melee heal and a ranged heal, so we're going to be doing both of those with our turn, as well as the focus ability Shield Bash. So while we are here and adjacent to all these enemies, we, I think, want to focus our attacks on the Scouts of Darkness. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and use our focus action Shield Bash. That's going to give us +2 to hit, +1 damage, and a knockdown. So we don't want to knock down the Scouts of Darkness because that's going to block our safe passage into the next room. So I think we want to go ahead and use that on one of the Bone Reapers, knocking them down in the lava. And then once we move back, they're not going to be able to move from there. So as long as nobody ends adjacent, then they will be unable to attack for the turn, which will be really nice. And since we do have the high ground, we have advantage. We will be getting another +2 to hit. So this is going to be a total of +4 to hit. And they both currently have the same amount of health. The pink one is more likely to attack anyway since it is closer to us. So I think we want to focus this one on the yellow Bone Reaper. So we're going to roll for a +4 to attack. We aren't adjacent to any allies. So this is going to be a 3 or higher to hit. Okay, and we got a 6. So that is going to hit for +1 damage. So 4 damage to the yellow Bone Reaper and a knockdown. And a focus ability is a minor action, so that's not going to take one of our action cubes. So we still have our 3 move and our actions. We know we have a melee cube left, so we're going to go ahead and use that once again while we're adjacent. And we're going to use the Invigorating Blow, which is going to give us a heal 3 as well and a +0 to hit. So when we heal 3, we'll go back up to 4 health. And now we need a 7 or higher to hit. And I think this time we do want to try to clear out one of these Scouts of Darkness. That way we can get into the next room. And just since the green already has a little bit of damage, we will focus on that one. So 7 or higher. And we got a 12, so that's going to be 3 to the Scout. Now we'll go ahead and use our free move with Jaheen to go 1, 2, 3. And we will use our ranged cube to perform Blessing of the Sun for a heal 3 and shield 2, bringing us to 7 health and 2 shield. And then after that, Jaheen will be doing an Unwilling Recall, so we'll grab all of our action cubes back and get our first Curse Cube on Jaheen. Right now, we'll just go ahead and cover up the ranged battle focus ability. And then before Jaheen ends, we will go ahead and use the Scroll of Icy Bolts. So we're going to be able to discard this to knock down 2 targets and deal them 3 damage. So I think we're going to go ahead and do this to the other Bone Reapers to hopefully just completely negate their turns. If we can all stay back here or get past them into the next room, then none of them will be moving and none of them will be able to make an attack, which is really going to help us out with just getting rid of the Skeleton Archer and the Scouts of Darkness this turn. So now all of our Bone Reapers have a knockdown status. The pink one went down to 7 health and the red one went down to 9 health. All right, Kellam was stunned last turn, so we still have quite a bit of options. The Skeleton Archer is up next with 5 health. It has 2 burn. If we can make 1 successful attack on the Skeleton Archer, then the burn condition will kill it at the start of its turn. And so we're just going to use Kellam to move up a little bit, make an attack on the Archer, and then I think we want to keep him at range, so we'll probably be in the same space to make an attack on the Archer and on the pink Bone Reaper, and I think those are going to be our 2 targets with Kellam. So we'll first use our free movement with Kellam, and since we want to end in this space, I'm going to go ahead and start by moving 1 and then using a minor action to get this last interact token. And let's see what we can do here with Kellam. I could kind of see Kellam maybe going for pull the handle. You know, handles usually that's going to open up some sort of trapdoor, secret room, a good secret room or a bad secret room. I don't know. It could just, you know, maybe it activates a trapdoor underneath us and we take damage. But being that handles usually open something, exploration, leader, party leader, going to explore, I think that makes the most sense. So we're going to use Kellam doing number 12, pull the handle. Curious, you pull the handle with a good deal of effort followed by a little jolt. The noise of pulleys and chains dragging within the ruined walls echoes around you, and a moment later a passageway opens in the masonry nearby, bringing to light a storehouse of loot. Okay, so we actually did end up opening a good room. It was not a trap, even though technically chests are always trapped, so there's chests in this room. Those will be booby traps, so we will be needing to roll the trap die to see what effects we get from those, but we were going to add that as part of setup now. All right, and then finishing our movement, we will go 2, 3. So we're going to start with our double throw ranged attack. Each of these attacks get +3 to hit, +2 to hit from the ability itself, and then +1 for being adjacent to our allies. So 4 or higher will hit for each of these. Our first target is going to be the Skeleton Archer. Okay, and that's a 7, so that's going to deal 3 to the Skeleton Archer. Then we'll throw the other attack to the pink Bone Reaper. And that's a 9, so both of those are hits for 3 damage. We got the 1 hit we needed on the Skeleton Archer, so it dies at the start of its turn, so we won't have to worry about that activation next. And then the pink Bone Reaper will go down to 4 health. Okay, and then I thought about doing this other ranged attack to help with the pink Bone Reaper and killing it, but it is knocked down, so as long as nobody ends adjacent there, I don't have to worry about the attack anyways. So I think I'm going to do something a little more mobility centered, and I'm going to use the Tarantella song to move up to 4 targets with a jump 3 action. I'm going to start with moving these Scouts of Darkness out of our way here. Let's just go ahead and move those 1, 2, 3. Since it is a jump, I can just go right over top of them. And then with this guy, we'll go 1, 2, 3. So that's 2 of our 4. For the next ones, I think I actually want to send Shadow here, 1, 2, 3, next to these treasure chests. Definitely get the rogue in there, start picking some, see what we can get. And then the last thing I'll do is actually just send Lordwrath down here as well, and that will be the end of Kellam's turn. The skeleton archer will activate next, and at the start of its activation, it will take burn 2 from the token, which will take away the last of its health. And bye-bye skeleton archer. That was the only one, so we can remove its card from the initiative track as well. So for Lordwrath's turn, we're definitely going to be picking up this chest adjacent to us while we're here, and then I think we want to move up on the pink Bone Reaper. We'll be able to get it for a melee attack, probably our Tainted Strike, since we're not going to be adjacent to multiple enemies for a cleave. And I don't really want to go by the other ones, like the ones in the lava. We are just going to completely ignore this turn and just not end adjacent to them. Just having fewer enemies to focus on and knock down their health pool, I think, is the better strategy right now. And we could even completely shut down the red Bone Reaper's turn. If we also do our stun enemy, it won't be able to move, it won't be attacking. Even though we're going to be adjacent to it, that'll just shut it down. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we will start with Lordwrath by opening the chest. And let's go ahead and roll the trap die to see what 2 effects we get. Okay, the first one was a blank. And the second one was a bleed. So Lordwrath will take 1 bleed token. And then we will draw from the chest deck. Okay, and Lordwrath drew Cosmic Gemstone. We can discard to enhance a socketed item, flip that item card, and use its backside for the rest of the campaign. Okay, so we haven't gotten to double-sided cards yet, but we will have this in our back pocket when we do. Then for our 3 move, Lordwrath will go 1, 2, 3. And we're going to roll for the Tainted Strike. No allies adjacent to us. No bonuses to hit since we don't have any curse cubes, so 7 or higher. Okay, so we did only get a 5, so that is going to be a miss. Also, when that skeleton archer died, I forgot to heal Lordwrath 1. I just went ahead and did that now, so we go up to 11 with Lordwrath. Also, Willow gained that Fruit of Life as well. I already did that. And then I will go ahead and use an agility cube for our stun enemy, dealing 1 damage and stun to the red Bone Reaper. That brings the red Bone Reaper to 8, and then that will be the end of Lordwrath's turn. So after Lordwrath, we will activate the Scouts of Darkness. Green Scout of Darkness is up first, so it does have a bleed 1 token. So we're going to go down to 4 health with the Green Scout of Darkness, and then we have a movement of 4, and we only need to move 2 to get adjacent. Then we will attack twice for 2 damage with Drain Health 1. For the first of those attacks, we're going to use our Wisdom Cube for Parry and Riposte. That allows us to prevent 2 damage from the attack so the Drain Health 1 doesn't go off, and then we also retaliate 2, so they take 2 more damage, bringing them down to 2 health. Then for our second attack, we will use a ranged cube on our plate armor to let us prevent up to 3. We only needed 2 for that, but that will mean we take 0 damage for that attack. Next up is the Brown Scout, and that will also only need to move 2. 1, 2. We have no more prevent abilities, so we are going to take all of this damage together for a total of 6, taking us down to 5 health. The Brown Scout had not taken any damage, so it doesn't heal any from the drain health. And that will be it for these Scouts, and we're on to Willow's turn. Okay, we've got some damage spread across the board right now, so Willow will definitely be getting some heals in this turn. I think I also like the option of potentially using Ayula's Tackle to get over here behind this Brown Scout of Darkness and then pushing it into the lava over by the Bone Reapers. Getting it a little bit out of the way, getting some burn conditions on it as well. Yeah, just to make the way a little more clear for our people, get them knocked down into the lava so we have advantages on attacks as well. I think that sounds good. So we're going to be healing and knocking that Brown Scout into the lava. Okay, I did not pay attention to my action cube, so we're not going to be doing Ayula's Tackle. We will be healing, however, so I'm going to use my blue Wisdom Cube for Healing Spirits, and I get to heal up to 2 targets for 2 damage. So definitely going to get Jaheen a little more health, back up to 9. And then Lordwrath took a bit of damage right there as well, so we'll put Lordwrath back up to 7. Then we do have Leech Siege for a ranged attack that also has heal as well, so I think we're going to do that. And in order to get some extra healing on Lordwrath whenever an enemy dies, as well as just thinning out the herd, I think we're going to use this attack on the green scout to hopefully, if we hit, we will kill it. So we will move 1 right here because we don't want to be engaged. And that puts us diagonally adjacent to where the green scout is. And so our Leech Seeds attack has +2 to hit and +1 damage. Even just the regular amount of damage would have killed it, but we do get the heal too. And I think we want Jaheen to be our strongest character. Okay, so a 5 or higher is going to hit. And Jaheen will go up to 11 health. Okay, that's an 11. So we got the hit and the kill. The kill is also going to let Lordwrath go up to 8 health. Willow really doing her thing, getting those heals off this turn, being a good support. And since another enemy died, we're going to gain another Fruit of Life with Willow. So we've honestly got a lot of options with Shadow. We are going to be opening that chest while we're there so we can just move forward. And looking at the health of the enemies right now, we have a really great execution target in that yellow Bone Reaper. It currently is sitting at 6 health, so just a ranged attack to that will just end it. But it's currently really hard to get into a ranged position. We're going to need to use one of our cubes, probably not even an ability, so like that stabbing dash, since we would have to be adjacent to an enemy and then we want to use a ranged attack. That's not really good for us. So we're probably just going to end up using a melee or a ranged cube to just make a basic move 3 to get out of the way and be able to execute the yellow Bone Reaper. All right, first thing with Shadow is opening the chest and seeing what effects we get. Okay, so there's 1 burn token and 1 poison token. All right, that was the worst trap chest we've had yet. So Shadow will take both of those conditions and then let's see what we draw. Okay, and Shadow got a Scroll of Incinerate. We can discard to deal 2 damage and burn 4. Now we will go ahead and use our movement to go 1, 2, 3. Walking through the shadows for the first time, or walking through the darkness for the first time, is going to deal 2 damage to us, so we go down to 8. We will use one of our melee cubes for execution, which will just take out the yellow Bone Reaper. That will give Willow another Fruit of Life. That will heal Lordwrath for 1. And then whenever a gray monster dies, which the Bone Reaper is, Lordwrath focuses for 1. Okay, so not exactly how we drew it up, but nonetheless, we got the execution off, and we still have 1 more action cube. So we could use this for a stabbing dash on the brown scout, or we could go ahead and use one of our other melee attacks with a melee cube. We're not going to be able to do a ranged attack because we are adjacent to the Bone Reaper in the lava. So because, like I said, we don't want to end our turn adjacent to the Bone Reapers in the lava, so they won't be able to make an attack, I think we are going to go ahead and use that green agility cube for the stabbing dash. So we're going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. We will target an adjacent enemy with bleed 2 and slow. Now we can go in order and have all of the Bone Reapers activate. So we first have the pink Bone Reaper activating. It has 2 burns, so we'll go down to 2 health and then 1 burn token. It's knocked down, so it's not going to be able to move. There's no one adjacent, so it's not going to be able to make an attack. So then we can go on to the red Bone Reaper's turn, and it is stunned and knocked down, so it is not going to be able to move or attack, basically nullifying its turn. And then after that, we get to draw 2 more runes with the Darkness Hunting. Okay, so 2 from the bag. First one is going to be, all right, we got this symbol, and that's going to be this piece. All right, so since Jaheen is our strongest hero, unfortunately Kellam is right there adjacent as well. I think we'll go ahead and move these, and we'll place this spawn right here. Kellam and Jaheen are both now going to take 2 damage. This puts Jaheen at 9, and this puts Kellam at 6. Now we get our second rune. Okay, we have strongest heroes tied at Lordwrath and Jaheen, both with 9 health. And now, okay, this symbol is going to get us just this little 2-piece. Okay. Alright, so this is not going to reach Lordwrath just yet, but since Jaheen is already on darkness, it is going to stretch across the bridge here and try to make its way towards Lordwrath. And unfortunately, Willow is in the way of that, so Willow is going to take 2 more damage, taking Willow down to 6. Alright, you all, I have once again greatly miscalculated how long it was going to take to record this video. And here's a little sneak peek towards the end here in the final room. So I thought I was done, but there is actually a boss encounter at the end of this one. So this one's probably going to be broken up into multiple segments. I'm thinking just with how many rooms there were and then the boss I still have to film, probably going to break this one up into about 3 different parts. Also for future, since it seems like this game is going to tend to run pretty long on recording, I'm noticing quite a few places where I can cut out some fluff. So future chapters of this game should be quite a bit shorter, just so there's not so much downtime and we're more focusing on the action, kind of like going over back to the character sheets only when something new comes up, not every turn. It's probably just unnecessary when I just think my thoughts out loud while I'm actually doing the actions anyways. So I will see you all for part 2 and 3. Thanks for watching.